Both him and I have the exact same issue. Within a couple of hours, doing nothing, we would start smelling. And then if you do any kind of exercising on top of that, after you apply, it was really bad. And we would just switch and switch and switch. And I don't even know how many brands that we tried, but it was quite a few. There got to be something better out there. And I couldn't find it. So out of sheer frustration, I'm like, all right, well, this is a huge market. I'm going to see what I could do.
Hello, Liberty spenders. Today, I'm excited to have on the show Elliot Greenberg. He's the founder and CEO of Masculine Man, which is a men's grooming brand that's making some serious waves with its natural, American-made deodorant and an upcoming body wash line. Elliot started Masculine Man after seeing a need for natural, high-quality, aluminum-free products that really work. And since launching in August of 2024, the brand's already taken off, landing in now over 120 Hy-Vee stores and building a loyal online following, including this guy here, who's a user of Masculine Man. We're going to chat today about how Elliot built the brand from scratch, what sets his products apart, and the challenges of breaking into retail, and what it really takes to create a premium men's grooming line. Should be an interesting episode. Elliot, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know a little bit about how difficult it is to get into retail stores.
Okay.
And to get that done, I know is a big deal. How did 120 Hy-Vee stores, how did that happen?
So we are on this website called Range Me, which is specifically focused on companies like mine, any CPG product that is looking to get into retailer, and then the retailers on the other side. And during and on the website, they show immediate opportunities, and then they show when an organization is doing a category review, which means like they're reviewing cereals or they're reviewing healthcare products, whatever the case may be. And Hy-Vee was running a United States contest on new and upcoming brands. You know, you had to put yourself out there to apply. You had to send in a video talking about your product. You had to, talk about how your product was doing. How are you growing? This, handful of other questions. Apparently 1,000 companies applied for this. We were new at the time. So I think that was back in May or June. So we weren't even a full year old at that point. They reached out to us and they said, hey, we're interested in having you come to Des Moines, Iowa and, showcase our product in person. And so that was super exciting. And then like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks later, I get another email. Hey, you were one of the top 3 that did your video presentation. We were impressed. We want you to present your product on stage in front of everybody in the audience.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, and then there's a cash prize that goes along with it. That was a lot of fun. And, got on stage. I was pretty nervous. I've been in sales my whole life, but I was pretty nervous. Anyways, long story short, it led us to getting into Hy-Vee. They were excited to bring our product on board. It took a while between, we're bringing you on board to when they did their reset. And, I think in early March, we're now in over 120 grocery stores with Hy-Vee and speaking with other grocery chains. And we're off to the races.
Yeah. So they had you speak on stage. Who was in the audience?
All the executives from Hy-Vee, all the buying managers from Hy-Vee, and then all the other contestants that were there. So I think there was 50 companies that got invited to come out of the 1,000 that applied, and then all the executives and buyers of the different areas. And that was the audience. And you're at their corporate headquarters, you're on stage. Yeah, so exciting, nervous, all that good stuff. First time really talking publicly about the product outside of like Turning Point.
Yeah, which is where the two of us met. And I'll give my testimony. I have loved the Masculine Man deodorant. I got it there. My wife loved the way it smelled. which sold the deal, and I've been using it every day. So I know you have online fans in addition to people who are now buying your product at Hy-Vee. What's the secret? What got attention, not just of Hy-Vee, but of just regular consumers?
The branding for sure. It stands out. It's very masculine. I feel like we did a very good job creating something that's eye-catching, but we also have a hilarious tagline that my dad came up
Mm-hmm.
with, which is "Be awesome, don't stink." And so anytime, we have a booth, we have a tent, we have anything, we are highlighting the tagline because everybody laughs. And
Yeah.
but it's also a true statement, right? So anyways, once we hook them, once they're interested in giving us any, attention, because again, what's typically exciting about deodorant, then we get them to come over and we sell them on the scents, and we tell them about the longevity of the product, right? Because there are a lot of issues with natural deodorants that are out there. I mean, the entire brand was just built off sheer frustration. And then, along with creating a great product, a great smelling product, it was dialing in and focusing on who's our audience. And we knew who our audience was.
Yeah. Well, I know that's important. I love the branding too. I wish I
Oh,
had the
thank you.
hair of the guy on your
Me
your
too.
thing.
Yeah, I'm losing a little.
Yes. But that's you bring up about natural aluminum free deodorant, particularly natural deodorants. Maybe people have an opinion that they're not as good as alternatives. So you've really spent a lot of time and effort building something that's natural and you said long lasting.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That is the problem. So, just going back, the brand is truly built out of sheer frustration. So I think
Mm-hmm.
about 2.5 years ago, my son was 14 at that point, and we were hearing all the different things about the chemicals that they're putting in our products and the dangers of
Mm-hmm.
testosterone, and trying to move into eating cleaner and putting cleaner ingredients, on our body as well. I had an antiperspirant deodorant that's filled with aluminum. It was effective at keeping me from sweating. There were other issues with the product, but the big issue was all the chemicals and the aluminum in the deodorants. So then we make a switch to natural deodorants. And both him and I have the exact same issue. Within a couple of hours, doing nothing, we would
Mm-hmm.
start smelling. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you do any kind of exercising on top of that, after you apply, like, it
Mm-hmm.
was really bad. And we would just switch and switch and switch. And I don't even know how many brands that we tried, but it was quite a few. There got to be something better out there, and I couldn't find it.
Yes.
So out of sheer frustration, I'm like, all right, well, this is a huge market. I'm going to see what I could do. And we hired a chemist, and we just started formulating, and that was it. We were off to the races.
Yeah. That's an interesting, it's a good caveat to how you got started because, it's one thing when you're holding your deodorant in your hand and it's made and it's formulated and it works. But that was probably step 100 out of the whole process. So I'm kind of curious. You hired a chemist. What's it look like to develop something like this from scratch?
Um, lot of testing, lot of
Yeah.
testing and figuring out what works. And I'm the tester.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you hire a chemist, you tell them what you want the ingredients to be. You're discussing how do we make this, what from a firmness standpoint, from a texture standpoint, from this, from that. What are you looking for? What's the experience? And on top of my own personal experience using natural deodorants, you're also going through all the reviews from all of your competitors to figure out
Hmm.
where are the one stars coming from, where are people struggling,
Hmm.
outside of the obvious that I already mentioned, and you're sharing that information, and then that's your base. And then after
Hmm.
that, it's okay, here's something that we've created, now go give it a try. And once that happened, then it was okay, we have to tweak it because this isn't working, and it's just on and on and on. We ended up at 53 different versions of the formula before we got it. It took an entire year.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I should say it took 52 different versions of the formula. We launched. The product worked extremely well, but then we found out that a couple of guys were having some skin irritation with the original formula, redness, burning, that sometimes
Uh-huh.
happens with products. And so we went back to the drawing board. We swapped out and modified some of the ingredients, rolled out the newer formula shortly after launch, and it solved all the problems because we gave the new formula to all the guys that had reported skin irritation, let them try
Mm-mm.
it for at least a month. Everybody came back, hey, like, this is working great. Effectiveness,
Mm-hmm.
longevity, nothing has changed on that, but I'm not having the skin irritation. And then, boom, it
Mm-hmm.
was off to the races.
Yeah. So you do all of this,
Mm-hmm.
you test it, you try it. Where was your first big source of customers?
Amazon and the website.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
is that you still sell a lot on Amazon and such?
Still sell a lot of an Amazon, still sell a lot on our website. And obviously, moving into retail, like I proudly say we have hands down the best smelling natural deodorant on the market, period. I mean, that is factually a true statement. But it is very difficult to tell people you have the best smelling deodorant through a computer screen. So
Right,
the
right.
real goal is getting into more retailers because, like I am going to Target, I'm going to Walmart, I'm going to different shopping areas, and I watch, like a
Mm-hmm.
stalker, how people buy products. The products that
Right,
I'm in, the deodorants, the body wash, the shampoos, conditioners, lotion.
right.
And what are people doing? They're going up to something that catches their eye, they're opening the top up, and they are smelling it.
Yeah.
And so again, it's like how do we overcome from an online standpoint? Not only do you say, "Hey, I got the best smelling product," but when you have different scents, how does that customer make sure that they're buying the right scent that they love the most? So,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the give and take that we've been trying to figure out online. We created the
Mm-hmm.
4-pack that allows customers to buy all four. They're still full sizes, but it's all four with the discount so they can figure out what scent that they like the most. And then, okay, I like these two the most. And
Mm-hmm.
I can buy that. And it's just overcoming the different things that are new to us, honestly.
You get this idea, you're solving a problem for
Yes,
yourself.
for sure.
Were you always entrepreneurial or was this your first business venture? How'd you end up selling deodorant?
So I've always been in sales since I was
Uh-huh.
15, 16. Always selling. And then back in 2020, my father and I opened up a coffee franchise. We are franchisees. Going through the process, opening through COVID, this, dealing with franchisees, not being able to make decisions that you disagree with, you know,
Right.
that corporate is making, it really pushed me in the direction. You know what? Like, I think some of the ideas that I had are better than what's currently going on. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a handful of other frustrations being a franchisee and
Mm-hmm.
not a true entrepreneur, not a true decision maker that everything really lands on you. And at that point, we dove into this because we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have more control over all aspects of the business. So
Yeah.
that was my first go at entrepreneurship, or partly entrepreneurship. It taught me a lot. And then we moved into this capacity. And then
Yeah.
sales as well. I mean, like, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to be an entrepreneur, learn to sell.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I spoke to a group of high school students a few weeks ago, and that was one of my messages. If you can learn to sell, you'll never be unemployed.
Right.
You'll always have somebody who wants you, particularly if you're exceptionally good at it. So everybody, I think, who starts a business, particularly something like this, where you're competing against brands that are household names or companies that have literally billions of dollars to spend.
Millions. Yeah.
Has there been a moment along the way where you got up in the morning you went to the closet to put on your clothes to start, and you thought, this is never going to work? or had a moment of doubt and crisis?
Yeah, yeah. I do my best to avoid moments of doubt, but I think that's pretty natural. And when I do, like I will go out of my way to make sure I'm listening to a motivational compilation or put on
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins or put on Andy Frisella or put on somebody that's trusting that talks about the grid and the fortitude and what you are actually walking into becoming an entrepreneur, because I mean it's the toughest sport out there.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's just making sure that and even on those days that you're having all of that doubt and all of that, you know, getting kicked in the where,
Right.
you know,
Right.
um, you just have to make sure you still work the process that day, and then by the end of the
Yeah.
day, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. It's just like going to the gym, right?
Right.
There are days you don't want to go to the gym, but there's never anybody that walks out of the gym going, you know what? I wish I didn't do
Yeah, right. Right. Yes. If you're listening to this show, it's probably because you understand something most people don't. Marketing to Liberty spenders isn't just about ads or tactics, it's about trust. And in the real world, trust moves through relationships. And that's why private introductions and deal flow are such a core part of what we do.
So, FastPass is a private introduction and deal flow network for Christian and conservative leaders who already have influence and want to scale fast. It's not open networking, it's intentional introductions between people who already share alignment. We've seen one client land a $25,000 opportunity from a single introduction. Another told us that FastPass has become his largest source of referrals, not because of volume, but because of fit. And yet another closed her equity round at a key moment just due to the right introduction.
When you book a one-to-one consult with us, we're not handing you a list or making big promises. Instead, we're having a real conversation about what you're building, who you want to meet, and whether FastPass makes sense for this season for you. So no pressure, no hustle, and no awkward pitch from us.
Yeah. If you're ready to grow through relationships instead of forcing everything on your own, head to libertyspenders.com/FastPass and book a one-to-one consult with us.
In worst case, you leave with clarity. Best case, the right introductions change the trajectory of what you're building.
Okay, back to the episode.
Has there been a part of this that was harder than you thought it would be or surprisingly challenged to deal with?
Yeah, dealing with Amazon, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. We've done a tremendous amount of sales on Amazon. We have not
Uh-huh.
made any profit at all through all the sales because of the cost of advertising, because of the cost of
Uh,
competing against all the big boys that have that huge budget. And so you pay for every single click that's on your name when you're paying for sponsored ads. And so whether somebody converts or not, you are still
right.
paying, and it still takes, it's a numbers game. So you still have to have so many clicks before somebody makes a purchase on your brand. And, I mean, a lot of the time it eats up the entire profit. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it goes into cost of goods. Sometimes it's a profitable day, but then the next day might not be. So Amazon is very challenging. The website is obviously a much better way for us to do business. But if we didn't do Amazon, then I wouldn't have the story to be able to tell to the retailers. So it was a
Right.
necessary evil, right? And you got to
Yeah.
be on there. You got to be on there because that's where a huge percentage of America shops. But as the name becomes well known, and I don't know how long that's going to take, but people have more trust in the brand. They're like, oh, I've seen this
Right.
before. I'm just going to purchase, and then all of your numbers start changing, right? And life becomes a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Yeah. Well, what's nice about a product like yours is, as it is with me, as we were talking about before we got online, I bought a couple in person at Turning Point, and maybe we were maybe laughing about this because it's 5 months later and I'm still on my second my second stick of your deodorant. But people have to reorder, right? It's not something that they buy once. So, or what's your experience been, or how do you work on things like getting people to sign up monthly or regularly, and what's been working there?
So on Amazon, you offer a deep discount on subscribe and save. Same on the
Mm-hmm.
website. So we have a bunch of upcoming affiliate partnerships, podcasters, guys that owns TV
Mm-hmm.
networks, other organizations that have a bunch of reach that fit our
Mm-hmm.
audience. Because of all of that traffic that we're going to be driving to the website, through content like this and, other ways that people
Mm-hmm.
can naturally find us, we decided that we were going to revamp our website. So, the
Mm-hmm.
website is going through, a touch up where we've already worked on the main screen. Now we're working on the product page, right? And, one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that you have to focus, we hired these professionals that are exceptional at their job. And one of the things that they pointed out when they were looking at the website is it's not conducive to an easy close, and you have to remove as much friction as possible from the purchase on a website.
Mm-hmm.
And as they were going through all the different things, and line by line, this screen, like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought everything looked good. All the feedback from people that I knew, everything looked good. But when you have a professional telling you this is where a hang up is, this is what's going on, this is why you're not getting as much of this, like, all of a sudden it becomes visible when it previously wasn't. So website traffic, you have to focus on three primary things: average order value, getting
Mm-hmm.
people on subscribe and save, and then increasing your conversion, right? Especially when you're doing affiliates and they're putting all their
Mm-hmm.
time and effort into driving people to your website, and they get
Mm-hmm.
paid through the sales that they make, right? If that's the
Mm-hmm.
deal that you have with them, which is a really nice way to grow the business because it's a good partnership. They love the product. They could talk about the product like you did, right? It's not me
Mm-hmm.
selling, it's you selling and just telling
Right.
people, hey, this is how it's been. If you're sending a lot of traffic to the website and they are not converting, that relationship is going to die pretty quick. So you better do
Right.
everything in your power to make sure that, you are closing the sale and everybody wins together on the
Right.
entrepreneur side. At the same time, you also want to make it extremely easy for the customer. Hey, I want this. I want
Mm-hmm.
this. I want to be able to build my own bundle. We didn't have that before. There were
Right.
limitations.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and you mentioned this, I've used the deodorant, but you've launched already some new like your body wash products, or they're around the corner. What else are you
Oh,
selling?
yeah, around the corner. So we found a manufacturer that has a very high tech facility in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They work with a lot of big brands. They have a
Mm-hmm.
very high end automated facility that they will help us custom build and also be able to catch up with the quality and the quantity of the products that we're going to be putting through their facility,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with that, it's just about going through the design, essentially just like the way that we did with the body wash, right? Here are
Mm-hmm.
the core things that we want to stick by. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, here's 15 different ways that we can go about doing it. We're going to create samples on all of that, and then we're going to send you those samples, and then it's me testing it and then giving it to a whole bunch of friends that
Mm-hmm.
use our products, love our products, and can give me honest feedback. I like this
Yeah.
one more. I like this one more. I like this. I like the sudsiness of this. I like how my skin smelled, and I could, still smell the body wash and the fragrance after I'm done showering. You know, it's
Yeah.
all these different things, and it's a puzzle. How do we put it together so we can make the best product for our customers? The body wash came because, like, we were getting emails. Hey, like, we love your product. Can you do a body wash?
Right.
After that, it was, we want, the one after that is bar soaps, right? I have some
Yeah.
bar soap right here I was designing. I mean, like, it's a process getting everything released.
Yeah. Yeah. But very exciting as you
It's
grow, because once you get people sold on Masculine Man, now you can increase their order value, right? Because they're not just buying one thing; they're buying
correct.
multiple things.
Yep.
So, one of the things I thought we might get into, I'm somewhat familiar with why people are buying or want to buy aluminum free deodorant and natural deodorant. You glanced on it a little bit when we were talking, but talk to me a little bit about why is that something that people need to be paying attention to?
So that came across during our research years ago on how this affects your testosterone levels. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it has a significant impact on your system. It lowers your testosterone. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. There are numerous articles talking about it being a contributor to early onset Alzheimer's, early onset dementia, which runs in my family. For women, aluminum is known to cause, or I don't want to say known to cause. There's a lot of research showing that it is a contributor to breast cancer in women.
Mm.
Obviously, it could be for men as well, but it's much less common. But for me, it was all about, the testosterone and just, again, moving to a healthier product in all ways.
Well, I've heard people talk about heavy metals, of course, and I think that's what you're referencing. Aluminum
Yeah,
being one of those
sure.
that really can affect you negatively. Well, I know nobody builds something alone. I think when I met you guys at Turning Point, your dad was there. So is this kind of a family affair? Who all's involved in the business?
Yeah, me and my dad. My dad's my business partner. My dad's my business partner in the coffee shop, and then also in this. We kind of, we do everything together, which could be fun, which could not be fun. Um, and my wife gets involved when I need her to, so she's my soundboard. And then, yeah, I mean, and then we just have a team of different people that help us execute in all the different ways. From
Yeah.
building the product to shipping the product, we have a good team.
Yeah. Well, and that's such an important thing. So I think there's probably somebody listening right now, or there might be, who's thinking they've got a good idea
Yep.
for a product like this one. What would you say to somebody who might be just like you were a couple years ago thinking, I think I could do this? What what would you tell them um, to have in their mind, or how do they need to handle their mindset um, as they maybe endeavor on a similar project?
First thing is, have self-belief in yourself that you can
Mm-hmm.
accomplish this, that it's going to take time, that it's going to be extremely hard. And
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to push and go through, your own personal demons to make this come to life. But
Mm-hmm.
if there's a market for the product that you have, and, you're reaching a core audience that if you create something great is going to want to support you, then go for
Mm-hmm.
it. Because if you don't, you're going to look back on your life and have these moments of self-reflection like, I wish I did this. I wish I took a risk on myself and now it's too late. And so I can't live with stuff like that. And if you are entrepreneurial in any way and have these big goals about not just creating something, but also improving your family's life and building a legacy and changing and being an inspiration for your kids, and like, you have to go through that. You have to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been awesome, and I want to go into our lightning round now,
Sure.
our
Yeah.
rapid fire section. So we ask the same three questions of every guest. Our goal is 90 seconds to answer each question. We'll see low accountability here, I like to say, because there's no buzzer, but we'll see. So the first question I like to ask people is about legacy, and I try to get people to imagine decades from now, hopefully many decades from now, and you're laying in your bed, you're looking back on your life. How will you know you've had a life well lived?
I mean, for me, it's really about being able to look back and say, did I accomplish what I wanted to accomplish? Did I give it all? Did I
Mm-hmm.
push when I could have not pushed? Have I given my family a great life? Will my wife be proud of me? all of these different things come into play for me where I can look back and go, okay, I did it. I'm proud of myself. For me, it's really about me being proud of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then everything else
Um,
comes along with it.
Right. Yeah. And now for something completely different. I always like to ask people, what is a hobby of yours, or maybe an interest that has got you going down the rabbit hole recently? Is there something that's sort of grabbed your attention, maybe a sports team, a great book you've read, or what's really grabbed your attention recently?
So, I'm a gym nut. So the
Yeah.
gym is kind of a constant. The business is kind of a constant, but I'm really into cars. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so, I enjoy going to look at cars. I enjoy going to the meet and greets and then dreaming about when I accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish, of what I'm going to get.
Yeah. A car guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then last one, it should be relatively easy. I want to give everybody an opportunity, if you've to pretend like nobody's listened to what we've just been talking about for the last 35 minutes, and they just fast forwarded to this moment. Who are you? What's Masculine Man? Who should be buying your product? And how do they find you?
So my name's Elliot Greenberg. I'm the CEO and founder of Masculine Man. We make natural men's grooming products. I like to say it's the best smelling, hardest working natural deodorant for men. You can find us on our website at masculinemanessentials.com. You could also find us on Amazon. We're going to be getting on walmart.com soon. And we are also at 120 plus Hy-Vees across the country, and expanding into other retailers. And I'm sorry, what was the back end of that? Is that it?
How to find you? And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I, th- I think you got it.
cool.
MasculineManEssentials.com, right?
That's correct. Yep.
And that's how I like to make sure people who listen know how to find you. Again, I give my 2 thumbs up because I've enjoyed using their products. And so thank you so much, Elliot, for joining us.
Thank you.
And for those of you listening in, definitely go check them out. Try something. I don't think you'll regret it. And thank you, anyone who's taken 35, 40 minutes out of your day to listen to me and Elliot. It means a lot that you've given me this time, and I can't say thank you enough. If you want to learn a little bit more about what Kristen and I are up to, definitely check us out at www.libertyspenders.com. Until next time.